Good morning.
Good morning.
And welcome to First UU. My name is Betty Ridge. We offer these announcements before we begin the service. We'll have a Share the Basket offering today to help fund Sunday evening meals for the MSU Multicultural House students. The cooking club has signed up for 7 meals throughout the academic year. Reverend Michelle estimates that we may feed as many as 40 people, so each meal may cost $100 to $125. All of the undesignated cash in the basket this Sunday or checks with Shared Basket in the memo will be used to help the cooking club with food preparation expenses. Join us after the service today for a Taste of Soul event. We'll have snacks available and we'll introduce soul batters, small groups to anyone who's interested in learning about them and getting a small taste of one. Soul Matters small groups have made a big impact in many of our members' lives. Millie Donahue says participating in the monthly Soul Matters small group meetings has given me new insights into my own spiritual journey and has gifted me with a deeper relationship with the other members of our group. It has become an essential part of my life. Stick around today to see what it's all about, or see Millie, Sherry, or Reverend Michelle for more information. The Social Action Committee is rebooting. We will continue to focus on UUA's Side with Love priorities: LGBTQ issues, racial justice issues, climate justice, and electoral justice. In addition, we will attend to the local housing crisis for tenants and for those who are without housing. We will meet after church on September 8th to make some plans. If social action is one of your UU priorities, please plan to attend and explore how to get involved. The second chili cook-off is Saturday, September 14th from 6 to 8 p.m. The proceeds from the event will go toward the deficit of the 2024 budget. Instead of selling tickets, we will have a free will bucket at the event. Every dollar counts to help with the budget. There will be a raffle, 50-50 drawing, beverage table, fabulous chili, and great conversation. In order to make sure that we have enough food, please sign up with Roberta W. The Tabernacle Choir will be in concert, joined by the gospel choirs from HBCU's Morehouse College and Spelman College on Wednesday, September 11th in Atlanta. Members of the local Interfaith Alliance will be gathering at the venues for a watch party. Doors open at 5:30. The concert will be from 6 to 8. Snacks will be available and everybody is invited. Let us now center ourselves in this sacred time and space as Eva plays Andante by C.W. von Gluck.
Good morning. Welcome to First UU. My name is Colleen Apple and my pronouns are she and her. This morning I'm wearing a flower jacket that looks like the designer opened up her paint box and used all the colors. If this is your first time here, or your third time, or your 50th time, then we welcome you. Let us begin by acknowledging that we are gathered on the traditional territory of the Niukanska people, known sometimes by the name Osage. The descendants of the people who were forcibly removed from this land make up the Osage Nation. We acknowledge their continued struggle for justice. The chalice lighting words this morning are Creating Community by Stephen Biko. We regard our living together not as an unfortunate mishap warranting endless competition among us, but as a deliberate act of God to make us a community of brothers and sisters jointly involved in the quest for a composite answer to the varied problems of life. We light our chalice today in the spirit of community. And the chalice lighter in the sanctuary is Becky Cohen.
Rise up, O flame, by thy light glowing, show to us beauty, vision, and joy. Rise up, O flame, by thy light glowing, show to us beauty, vision, and joy.
James Luther Adams said about the prophetic liberal church, this much we can say. A church that does not concern itself with the struggle in history for human decency and justice. A church that does not show concern for the shape of things to come. A church that does not attempt to interpret the signs of the times is not a prophetic church. The prophetic liberal church is not a church where the prophetic function is assigned merely to a few. The prophetic liberal church is the church in which persons think and work together to interpret the signs of the times in light of their faith, to make explicit through discussion the epical thinking that the times demand. The prophetic liberal church is the church in which all members share the common responsibility to foresee the consequences of human behavior, both individual and institutional, with the intention of making history in place of being merely pushed around by it. Our song of the month for August is When the Spirit Says Do. It's number 124 in the Teal hymnal. I invite you now to rise in body or spirit to sing.
We've got to do when the Spirit says do. We've got to do when the Spirit says do. When the Spirit says do,
My name is Brian Moore. My pronouns are he, him, his. Let's see. Today, I could be wearing a blue patent button down. Let's see. Today, time for all ages. Today, we're going to hear a story about Mr. Rogers and how he fought for justice. Do you know who Mr. Rogers was?
Yes.
He was a children's show host of Mr. Rogers, with Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood and a minister. In 1969, many community pools across the country did not allow African American people to swim with white people. Fred Rogers decided that wasn't right, and this is in quotes, invited Officer Clemens, a black police officer on the show, to join him to cool his feet in a small plastic wading pool. When Clemens sat down and placed his feet in the water right next to Rogers, the two men broke a well-known color barrier. Segregation was so bad that pools became a place of protest during the fight for civil rights. In 1964, a group of black and white people jumped into a segregated pool at a motel in St. Augustine, Florida. This enraged the manager so much that he poured acid in the water. Fortunately, the acid was diluted in pool water and no one was injured. That was an unjust, dangerous, and mean thing to do. In the Mr. Rogers episode, their friendship exposed the bigotry of denying black citizens access to pools and any place in society. Mr. Rogers took a stand. We're going to watch it now, and then celebrate the fairness, justice, and kindness of Mr. Rogers and the end of pool segregation with some water play. One more quote from Dr. King. May we not be satisfied until justice flows down like water and righteousness like a mighty stream.
Oh, there's Officer Clemens. Hi, Officer Clemens. Come in. Fine, welcome to that.
Oh, there's Officer Clemens. Hi, Officer Clemens. Come in.
Rogers, how are you?
Fine. Won't you sit down?
Oh, sure, just for a moment.
It's so warm. I was just putting some water on my feet.
Oh, it sure is.
Would you like to join me?
It looks awfully enjoyable, but I don't have a towel or anything.
Oh, you share mine.
Okay.
Sure.
Oh,
Come along.
man.
I'll put some more water in here.
Oh. This is going to turn into a beautiful day.
You like bare feet?
Well, yeah, as I grew older, I liked it more and more.
Uh-huh. Good for you. You're pulling up your pants. I forgot to do that at first.
Oh, I don't want them to get wet.
Right.
That feels great.
Here.
You know, when you're a policeman, you do an awful lot of walking, and sometimes your feet get tired.
Right.
That feels better already.
Good.
Just massage them a little bit.
Cool water on a hot day.
Well, thank you for your refreshments.
Oh, I'm glad you like it. You're welcome, Officer Clemens.
Shall we turn this off?
Mm-hmm. Is that enough?
Oh, that's fine. Well, that was so enjoyable. I'm sorry I couldn't stay longer.
Well, I know how busy you are. But sometimes just a minute like this will really make a difference.
There, that one's dry. And now, that one. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Who can put your hand in my hand and be ready to feel all safe and strong? You're a child, so you can do it. Children do it all life long. we are.
You have great boots to fill, Officer Clemens. And
Well,
you
thank you
fill
very
them
much.
well. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
stopping by.
So long.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Support the work of building inclusive and just communities is one of the many ways that we live into justice and equity together. Some of us have much to give, and some have little, and together it is enough. We are enough to work together for a world where every human can live into their best and most authentic self. If electronic giving is your preferred method, or if you are on Zoom, virtual giving options are available via our website, springfielduu.org. Checks with Share the Basket in the memo line and any unlabeled cash today will go toward food costs for multicultural house meals. The offering today is Hope by Say and Barnwell.
But you don't have to go very far, because I can.
And
zip in.
John, please correct me if I mispronounce that first.
We think it's East Area.
Okay, thank you.
If we want hope to survive in this world today, then every day we've got to pray on, pray on. If we want hope to survive in this world today, then every day we've got to pray on. If we want hope to survive in this world today, then every day we've got to pray on, pray on. If we want hope to survive in this world today, then every day we've got to pray on. If we want hope to survive in this world today, then every day we've got to walk on, walk on. If we want hope to survive in this world today, then every day we've got to walk on. If we want hope to survive in this world today, then every day we've got to work on, work on. If we want hope
Thank you to the choir, that was wonderful. Anyone feel a spirit of joy in this room this morning? Let's just sit in that for a minute. I am Michelle Scott Huffman. My pronouns are she, her. I'm the minister here at First UU, and a middle-aged woman with salt and pepper, spiky hair, wearing navy pants and plaid navy and teal and white shirt. Glad to be here with you today. Dr. Cornel West has said, never forget that justice is what love looks like in public. That being the case, it seems fitting that we are wrapping up our exploration of the 6 UU values with justice after kicking off the conversation about what it means to live out UU values with love at the center. Perhaps we might have commissioned Dr. West to give us similar pithy sayings to succinctly describe the other 5 values as well. Maybe he would have said, equity is love that evens the playing field. Transformation is love from the inside out. Pluralism is love across difference. Interdependence is love through connection. And generosity is love freely shared. Now, those were my words, not Cornel West's words. I'm sure his would have been better. Article 2 of the UUA bylaws state that justice is one of our core values, further explaining by saying we work to be diverse, multicultural, beloved communities where all thrive. Let's return one more time to the theological reflection of Reverend Dr. Sherry Prudhomme as she expands on what justice might mean specifically in the context of Unitarian Universalism. She writes, early Universalist theologians in America argued that believing Jesus' death on the cross saved humanity harmed the Spirit of God and indeed allowed people to imitate this violent behavior and justified cruelty. Instead, they believed humans are saved by creative and active love. Unitarians joined them in believing humans need protection not from a vengeful God, but from human capacity to create hell for one another on earth. Unitarians also understood it as an affront to God when human beings were not afforded opportunities to develop their fully God-given capacities, or what they called the powers of the soul. Salvation, then, is in our hands. The religious responsibility of the faithful is to remove and dismantle the systems and structures that prevent the full flourishing of life, and to enhance and side with the movement of creative and active love. These theological perspectives led Universalists and Unitarians to be at the forefront of many social movements, including abolition, temperance, women's suffrage, better treatment for prisoners and people with mental illness, opposing Chinese exclusion and Japanese internment, civil rights, pacifism, and LGBT rights. At the same time, the implications of this theological heritage were not integrated by all in the same way. And in every generation, there were Universalists and Unitarians on the opposite side of many movements for social reform, as well as those who advocated for eugenics, colonialism, and imperialism, the decimation of our indigenous Americans and their way of life. In our congregations, our theological perspectives can be observed in the ways we organize as a religious community. Protesting patterns that concentrate wealth and power in the hands of a few, our congregations retain the power to self-organize and call their own clergy. We rely on democratic processes in our decision-making, and we practice rotation of leadership in the governance of our congregations and our denominational association. In the Unitarian Universalism of the 21st century, we hold a variety of beliefs about how and whether humans co-create on earth with God, known by many names and none fully known, as one of
Her students recently begun a prayer, or as humans alone, but we carry forth the theological lineage that understands it is our responsibility to dismantle the human-made systems of oppression and exploitation that cause harm to life and inhibit the full flourishing of every person. We do this toward creating just, compassionate, and sustainable communities where all can thrive. As the preface to the 2020 report of the UUA's Commission on Institutional Change, Widening the Circle of Concern, makes clear, we still have a great distance to travel to live fully into this value mandated by our theological heritage, but we are on the path. And there ends Dr. Prudhomme's words of theological reflection about justice as a UU value. I want to invite you to think about whether or not you're sitting in this place because Unitarian Universalism was at the forefront of some justice movement that mattered to you. Pacifism, feminism, women's inclusion in voting and otherwise, leadership of full society, access to reproductive health. Things that you weren't able to find in other church spaces, and so you came here because UUs were at the forefront of those conversations, of those fights. And I want to invite you then to think about whether and how we are at the forefront of the justice conversations that are happening now. I once sent an email to someone and they weren't maybe on the same page with me about what I thought justice was in a particular situation. And they said, but I think we're the only people doing this. I think we're the only church doing this. And I said, well, that's actually not true. There are Christian churches that are way ahead of us on this in this town. But if there's one church that's doing something in the pursuit of justice, my God, it should be us, right? Because that's our heritage. I deeply appreciated all of Dr. Prudhomme's reflection, but the sentence that I went back to over and over was this one. The religious responsibility of the faithful is to remove and dismantle the systems and structures that prevent the full flourishing of life and to enhance and side with the movement of creative and active love. I love these images that are in the front of the sanctuary. Marilyn, we move the camera that way for just a second. No, it's okay. Well, if you want. The images that are here in the front of the sanctuary are just artistic visions of ways that we might engage in justice, of justice conversations that are old and new, ways to inspire us to become involved, because even art has a place in the movement for justice, and probably art has so much more of a place than we might give it in our own lives, because it is so powerful and it cuts across lines of difference and it engages us in a different way than all of the banter and words and conversation that we might have. Okay, you can move the camera back. I suspect that many of the people in this room share a disdain for the kind of me and Jesus theology that has so many people wrapped up in their own personal quest for assurance of eternal life that they are, as many have said, of no earthly good. Religion at its best, and perhaps simplest, is a tool that strengthens our ability to be a good neighbor. In a conversation between Brazilian Christian theologian Leonardo Boff and the Dalai Lama, Boff asked the Dalai Lama, what is the best religion? He anticipated, of course, that the Dalai Lama's response would be Tibetan Buddhism, or one of the other Eastern religions that are far older than Christianity. But to his surprise, the Dalai Lama's response was, The best religion is the one that gets you closest to God. It's the one that makes you a better person. Whatever makes you more compassionate, more sensible, more detached, more loving, more humanitarian, more responsive, more ethical. The religion that will do that for you is the best religion. What really is important to me is your behavior in front of your peers, family, work, community, and in front of the world. Remember, the universe is the echo of our actions and our thoughts. So going back to the earlier reflection and the idea that the religious responsibility of the faithful is to remove and dismantle the systems and structures that prevent the full flourishing of life, which is to say, to do justice. It begs the question, what happened in religious communities that made them become so centered on the individual and so separated from the cause of justice in the communities where they were practiced? After all, there are so many sacred texts that emphasize the importance of justice. In the Baha'i faith, the writings of Baha'u'llah say, "The best beloved of all things in my sight is justice." The Quran says, God commands you to love and justice. The Hebrew phrase tikkun olam means world repair. In modern Jewish circles, tikkun olam has become synonymous with the notion of social action and the pursuit of social justice. The Hebrew prophet Micah said, "You have been told, O mortal, what is good and what the Lord requires of you, to do justice, to love kindness, and to walk humbly with your God." The Hebrew prophet Amos said, "Let justice roll on like a river, righteousness like an ever-flowing stream." In fact, in the Bible, the Hebrew Bible and the Christian New Testament, the Greek and Hebrew words that translate to justice show up close to 1,000 times. If you divide that by 8, that's the percentage of more times that it talks about justice than someone's sexuality. Just throw that in there. And around 50 of those is a pairing of the words justice and righteousness, indicating that righteousness is about more than personal piety. It's a sense that things are right for the communal whole, a sense of justice and rightness. And it doesn't necessarily take a belief in God to imagine that a big part of our religious or spiritual practice is a commitment to justice. The American Humanist Association says, "Humanists are naturally committed to social justice as a prerequisite to peace and happiness for the greatest number, and see it as a moral failing to stand by while others are denied their civil and human rights. Humanistic social justice advocacy involves respect for the equality of all people, compassion for their dignity and welfare, and conviction that positive change requires human intervention." All of that is to say that justice is baked into nearly every religious and spiritual communal movement of our history and hopefully of our future. We seem to be living in a unique moment in our communal lives, where it seems possible that there might be some unity and joy in the shared work of justice. You see, there are times when the work of justice can feel exhausting and deflating because it is fueled with rage and desperation. What if in this moment where there is a spirit of joy that seems to be in the air that at least some of us breathe, that joy can take a seat at the table for justice? There is room in the movement for everyone. The need for justice is interdisciplinary. It took the artists who made these pieces that are on the whiteboard today. It takes the music of movement making, the music that sustains marches, the music that changes people's hearts and minds as they listen over and over and over. The need for justice is interdisciplinary. It needs theory people. We have some of those. It needs action people, disruptors, leaders, teachers, followers, literally sometimes people who can just follow directions when someone says, I need you to stand there. One time I was in Washington, D.C. at a conference. I was the PICO, which is a national organizing group, faith-based organizing group. I was the PICO representative to the National Domestic Women's Association or Domestic Workers Association conference. They're a little more hardcore than some of the organizing that I've done. And there was a direct action happening on the Koch brothers office in DC. And so we were all in that place. We took a bus to that place. And then some person came up to me and said, hey, I need you to go get in this cab that's going to pull up in about 5 minutes. And I need you to take it to whatever and whatever street. It's like a street corner. And you're going to meet someone there. And they're going to pay the cab driver. And then you all are going to go walk to this park that's next door and just wait for the next people to get there to help them with setting up this rally that was going to happen. It was literally the most bizarre experience of my life, but I was like, okay. Because sometimes we just have to be willing to do the thing that we don't even understand why we're doing it. It was that willingness of mine to go and do the thing and meet the other person, and then us to go and do the other thing that got the rally set up, that made the people who came able to participate in this conversation about immigration that day. Later, there would be action of civil disobedience. Some people went to jail. All of that was coordinated, but I didn't have to hold it all. All I had to know that mine was to go take this cab and stand on this street corner until the next person told me what to do. Sometimes justice work is that easy. But how often are we willing to just say yes? So the interdisciplinary work of justice requires followers, also direct service providers. We have to keep people fed and housed while we work against the systems that would otherwise keep people hungry and unsheltered. The people who do that direct service work are so important in the process. It needs caregivers for the people out there that need to be served, but also the people in the movement who will inevitably need care at different points in time. It needs trainers. It needs all kinds of people. There's not a kind of person in this room that's not needed in the work for justice. And there's no one way to show up for the cause of justice, and literally everyone belongs in the movement. So I want to close with a few reflective questions for you, a meditation, if you will, so that you might visualize your place in the work that flows out of a Unitarian Universalist value of justice. Take a moment to settle in. You feel yourself grounded in this space, whether that's by Zoom or in person. This space that was literally built by folks who shared our spiritual foundation. Take a deep cleansing breath and feel your lungs expand as we are all sustained by this air around us. As you exhale, let go of some apprehension you have as it relates to the work of justice. Imagine, even if just for this moment, that it's all possible. And leaning into that possibility, Visualize the justice that you want to see. Maybe the justice that you need to see in the world, in your lifetime. Imagine what the movement for that kind of justice might look like. And allow yourself to be in the picture. What are you doing? What are the gifts and skills that you're using? Notice where you see yourself in that movement. Now imagine the justice that you hope for this world, but believe may not come in your lifetime. Visualize a favorite tree planted by someone else. Maybe planted long before you were here. A tree that has provided you shade and air and beauty. Now think of those efforts at justice that may take a long time as seeds that you can plant today. What are the small things you can do to plant and water those seeds? Now feel the joy of those seeds growing. Feel the joy of all the gifts you've received as a result of someone else's planting. Feel the joy of the energy and possibility of this moment and every moment that comes along while you are still here. And while still holding that joy, take a moment to acknowledge the feelings of fear and anger that drive your desire to see the justice you have visualized. And imagine the joy, the fear, and the anger sharing space in your heart, informing one another, loving one another, right-sizing one another. And at least for this moment, let joy take the lead. And as you go throughout this day and this week, take note of how fear and anger become more productive when guided by joy. And note that this is a choice that you can make over and over again. Now, as you're ready with soft eyes, come back to the space. Feel yourself grounded here once again. And know that you belong here. Whoever you are, whatever you bring, whatever doubts you have, however you come at the work of justice, however you love, you belong here. In this sanctuary, in this community, in this movement for justice, in this circle of love. Welcome to the place where you belong. For now and for as long as you choose to be in community here. Blessed be, and amen. The interlude is Piano Concerto Number 5 by J.S. Bach, performed by Eva.
Hello, I'm Millie. My pronouns are she and her. I'm a member of the Pastoral Care Circle. I'm an older person, I wear glasses. I'm wearing a white blouse with black squares, a white jacket, and gray slacks, and glad to be here this morning. We are in the heart of summer, the peak of summer harvest, and on the heat path to the harvests of fall that sustain us through cold days to come. As we nurture and celebrate the cycles of the natural world, let us also nurture and build love at the center of our beloved community. As a community, we share joys and concerns to keep connected. Slips of paper are available at the greeters table for those in the sanctuary to use for joys and concerns. During the week, you may send your joys and concerns by email to pastoralcare@springfielduu.org or by leaving a voicemail on the church phone 417-883-3922. If you're on Zoom, please use the chat box now for sharing your joys and concerns. All of these joys and concerns will be included in the members' email on Tuesday. We honor each joy or concern with a stone dropped in a shared bowl. Oh, excuse me, we're using candles this morning. Yeah, we changed that. And we have Becky lighting our candles this morning for our joys and concerns. Now, as we begin this time of sharing, know that though we are in multiple physical spaces, we are together in beloved community. To begin, we hold in love all of us, those present and those absent. We light a candle for our church community. We have a joy from Eva. We thank you so much, Colleen, for playing piano this summer. It was beautiful. From Pharaoh, it's a joy. I moved into my new home this weekend and am thrilled and grateful to be there and begin this new chapter of life on my own terms. We light a candle for Pharaoh. From Reverend Michelle. We have a joy for my wife, Stephanie, who is starting Eden Seminary and goes to her orientation today and tomorrow. Candle of joy for her. I don't see any other joys or concerns on the chat box. We honor the complex and heartbreaking struggles of our world. We light a candle for all who are impacted. In closing, for those joys and concerns that remain unspoken, we light a candle. Thank you, baby. May we hold each of these in our hearts and minds. May our community of love ease sorrow and boost celebration. While we are in multiple physical spaces, we still share space together here in intentional community. And now let us join together in 1 minute of shared silence, followed by Spirit of Life.
Closing words by Max Coots were chosen because they seem to be appropriate in a week when we had a national convention with lots of talk and lots of songs. After the words, a quiet. After the songs, a silence. After the crowd, only the memory recalls the gathering. Peace and justice have need of you after the words, the music, and the gathering. God grant you the depth or dedication to justice. God grant you the will to be an apostle of peace. The final hymn today is We Are a Gentle, Angry People. It's 170 in the gray hymnal. Feel free to stand if you'd like and sing. We are singing the first 4 verses. John, Eva, and Aurora, 4 verses. We will now extinguish our communal and personal chalices and follow with our unison words. Our service here is ending. Our service to the world begins soon.